Good evening, my friend. Tonight, let us journey to a place of profound quiet. A place where the only sound is the gentle hum of a world built for one, and the faint, ancient music of the stars themselves. We are traveling to an orbital observatory, a listening post on the edge of a colorful nebula, where a lone composer translates the whispers of the cosmos into music. It is a story about the art of listening, the echoes of a time long past, and the beautiful, shared language of a lullaby. So dim the lights, settle in, and allow your mind to become an empty vessel, ready to be filled with the serene music of space. Begin by finding a place of comfort and stillness. Let your body feel supported, and gently close your eyes. Bring your awareness to the silence around you. Perhaps it is not truly silent. Perhaps you can hear the faint hum of electricity, the distant sound of the world outside. Acknowledge these sounds, and then, with your next exhale, let them go. Imagine the space around you growing larger, quieter, and darker. Take a slow breath in, and feel the stillness entering your lungs. And as you breathe out, feel your body becoming more and more relaxed, letting go of the day. Now, in your mind's eye, imagine you are looking out of a large, circular window. Outside, there is only the deep, velvety black of space, decorated with the sharp, brilliant diamonds of distant stars. You feel a profound sense of peace in this immense quiet. In the distance, you see a magnificent cosmic cloud, a nebula painted in breathtaking veils of soft pink, deep violet, and ethereal blue. It looks like a great, angelic wing spread across the cosmos. As you gaze upon it, you realize you are inside a small, quiet space. A gentle, low hum vibrates subtly through the floor, a reassuring, mechanical heartbeat. You are safe. You are warm. You are inside the oracle, the listening post of the composer. You are inside the story. The oracle was not a station of cold, sterile efficiency. It was Elian's studio, his sanctuary, and his home. The main chamber was a large, domed room, with the great viewport dominating one entire wall. On the opposite wall, high-tech arrays of screens and processors were built into dark wood paneling, their small, indicator lights blinking softly like a field of captive fireflies. This advanced technology was contrasted by the simple, human touches Elian had brought to this lonely outpost. An old, comfortable armchair with worn leather arms sat in the center of the room. A single, resilient space orchid, with blossoms the color of the nebula outside, grew under a dedicated lamp in one corner. And next to the main console, a small stack of physical, paper-bound books on astrophysics and music theory sat, their pages filled with his handwritten notes. Elian himself was a man who seemed to belong to this place. Quiet, patient, with eyes that seemed to be listening more than they were seeing. His job, a role created by the Institute of Cosmic Harmonics, was not to map stars or chart planetary orbits. His purpose was to listen, to tune into the vast, chaotic symphony of the universe, and find the rare, hidden melodies within. His morning ritual began with a cup of rehydrated tea, the steam rising in the recycled air. He sat in his worn armchair, not looking at the nebula, but feeling its presence. He was preparing his mind, clearing it of his own thoughts, making it a perfect, empty vessel for the universe to fill. After a long, meditative silence, he moved to the main console. This was his instrument. With a series of soft taps on the cool glass screen, he began the tuning process. The Oracle's primary tools were not lenses, but a vast array of radio receivers that fanned out from the station like a great, silver flower. First, he had to filter the noise. He engaged the primary filter, and a low hum filled the cabin as the system began to cancel out the ever-present hiss of the cosmic microwave background radiation. The afterglow of the universe's creation. The silence in the cabin deepened. Next, he filtered out the loud, rhythmic pulses of the distant quasars and pulsars. They were the universe's powerful, but predictable, drum machines. Their signals were strong, but too overwhelming for the delicate work he was doing. He isolated their frequencies and muted them, one by one. Now, with the loudest voices silenced, he could begin to truly listen. He directed the full power of the array towards his target, the Seraph's wing nebula. He had studied this nebula for years. Most nebulas were cacophonous places, the radio waves a chaotic roar of gas and newborn stars. But Seraph's wing was different. It was old, stable, and held a strange, quiet quality. Elian was convinced there was a song hidden within it. He fine-tuned the receivers, his fingers gliding across the control panel. He was like a musician tuning a grand piano, adjusting each string until it was perfect. He narrowed the bandwidth, focused the frequency, and listened. For hours, all he heard was a gentle, sighing static, like the sound of wind through a billion ghostly trees. It was peaceful, but it was not the melody he was looking for. He persisted, his focus unwavering. He adjusted the gain, shifted the phase, and applied another filter, this one designed to isolate coherent, repeating patterns. And then, he heard it. Beneath the layers of static, almost imperceptibly faint, was a signal. It wasn't random. It was structured. A complex, humming wave of data that rose and fell with a clear, rhythmic pulse. It was not music yet, but it was the raw material of a song. A song that had traveled across millions of years and light years, waiting for someone to finally listen. A slow smile spread across Elian's face. He had found it. His work for the day was just beginning. The captured signal was now a beautiful, complex wave displayed on the main screen, pulsing with a soft, cyan light. It was a raw stream of electromagnetic data, the ancient whisper of the nebula itself. To anyone else, it would be meaningless, but to Elian, it was a piece of sheet music written in a language he was born to understand. He initiated the next phase of his work, the translation. He fed the raw data signal into his custom-built harmonic synthesizer, a sophisticated piece of equipment that was his life's work. This machine did not create sounds from scratch. It interpreted the frequencies of cosmic data and assigned them to a vast library of tones and timbres Elian had curated over the years. The process was slow and methodical. Elian isolated the primary carrier wave of the signal first. It was a low, steady frequency, a deep and resonant hum that seemed to vibrate with a profound sense of age. He assigned it to a soft, sub-bass pad, a sound that felt like the gentle, slow breathing of the nebula itself. He let the sound fill the cabin, a deep, calming foundation. Then, he began to analyze the modulations within the signal, the smaller waves riding on top of the primary hum. He noticed a distinct, repeating pattern of 7 rising notes, followed by a long, descending note. It was a clear melodic structure. It was a phrase. He was stunned. Random cosmic radiation did not form phrases. This was not a natural phenomenon. This was a signal of intent. A thrill ran through him, not of frantic excitement, but of quiet, reverent awe. He was listening to something that had been composed. He was no longer just a listener. He was an archaeologist of sound. He worked with renewed focus, his fingers dancing over his console. He assigned a sound to that 7-note melody. He chose a tone from his library labeled crystalline bells, a sound derived from the resonant frequencies of ice crystals found on Europa. The sound was clear, pure, and gentle, like the notes of a celesta played in a vast, empty cathedral. He played the first layer. The deep, breathing hum of the nebula, now punctuated by the soft, rising and falling melody of the crystalline bells. The combination was beautiful, haunting, and deeply peaceful. It already had the unmistakable cadence of a lullaby. Elian continued his work, diving deeper into the signal. He found subtler frequencies, faint harmonic overtones that were almost lost in the background static. He isolated them one by one to a series of rapid, high-frequency pulses. He assigned a sound like a soft, shimmering harp arpeggio to a slow, wavering frequency. He assigned the sound of a synthesized string section, playing a single, sustained, heart-achingly beautiful chord. He was building the music, layer by layer, just as one might assemble a ship in a dry dock. Each piece was carefully chosen, polished, and placed into its correct position. The deep hum was the hull. The bell melody was the mast. The shimmering harp was the rigging, and the sustained strings were the great, billowing sails. The cabin of the oracle was no longer silent. It was filled with the first draft of a song that hadn't been heard by any ear in millions of years. It was a melody born in the heart of a dying star, carried on waves of light and gas, and finally, given voice here, in this small, lonely room on the edge of the known universe. Elian closed his eyes, letting the sound wash over him. He was listening to a ghost, and it was singing him a song of sleep. As Elian continued to layer the translated sounds, something extraordinary began to happen. The music was no longer just a collection of beautiful tones. It started to build an atmosphere, to evoke a feeling so specific and powerful that it transcended mere sound. It was the feeling of a memory. But it was not his memory. He closed his eyes, leaning back in his chair, and let the music guide his mind. The deep, foundational hum of the nebula felt like a slow, rocking motion, as if you were being held and gently swayed. The pure, crystalline bells did not just sound like notes. They felt like the soft touch of a hand, brushing hair from a sleeping brow. The music was a lullaby. That much was clear. But it was more than that. It was a vessel. A vessel carrying the ghost of a feeling, an echo of a love from a time and place impossibly far away. As he listened, faint, fragmented images flickered at the edges of his consciousness. They were not clear pictures, but impressions, like a dream you can't quite hold on to upon waking. He saw a sky of a color he had never seen before, a soft, turquoise green. He saw the gentle curve of a structure that was not made of metal or stone, but of something that looked like polished, woven bone. He felt the sensation of a very different kind of light on his skin. Not the harsh, direct light of a single sun, but a soft, diffused glow coming from twin suns, one golden, one silver, hanging together in the turquoise sky. And through it all, there was the feeling. A feeling of absolute safety, of being cherished, of a parent's boundless, unconditional love for their child. He realized what he was listening to. This was not just a song composed by an ancient, alien civilization. This was a recording, a cultural artifact of incredible significance. It was the sound of a nursery, a lullaby, sung or played for a child, captured and somehow imprinted onto the electromagnetic waves of the nebula. Perhaps by some great, unknown cataclysm that ended their world, leaving only this final, gentle echo behind. The thought filled him with a profound sense of both sadness and wonder. Sadness for the lost world, for the parent and child he could almost feel in the music. And wonder that such a tender, intimate moment could survive for so long, could travel across the unimaginable emptiness of space to find him here, now. The melody was a ghost, a beautiful, peaceful ghost that had traveled for eons, simply looking for someone to listen, to remember. Elian felt a great sense of responsibility. He was not just a composer anymore. He was a caretaker of this echo. It was his duty not just to translate it, but to honor it. He opened his eyes, a new resolve within them. The raw signal was beautiful, but it was also damaged by time and distance. There were gaps in the data, moments of static where the original sound had been lost. His new task was clear. He would not just restore the lullaby. He would collaborate with it. He would use his own artistry to fill in the gaps, to heal the broken parts of the song, and to make it whole once more. It would be a duet between a living man and the memory of a star. Elian's approach to the work now shifted. He was no longer a passive archaeologist, simply uncovering a relic. He had become an artist in dialogue with another artist, separated by an ocean of time. He felt a deep reverence for the original, unknown composer and wanted to honor their creation. He identified the gaps in the signal, the places where cosmic radiation or the sheer distance had eroded the fine details of the music. These appeared on his console as sections of unresolved static. Instead of filtering them out, he saw them as empty spaces, invitations to contribute. His first edition was a soft, warm synthesizer pad. He chose a sound with a very slow attack and a long, gentle release. A sound like a deep, calming breath. He layered this beneath the entire composition. A soft, harmonic bed for the other sounds to rest upon. It was like placing a soft, hand-woven blanket down before laying a precious artifact upon it. The pad filled the silence, giving the ancient melody a sense of warmth and presence it had lacked. Next, he addressed the main melody carried by the crystalline bells. There were moments where a note seemed to be missing, where the seven-note phrase felt incomplete. Elian didn't try to guess the exact alien note. Instead, he used his own intuition. He brought up a soft, felted piano sound on his synthesizer. In the gaps of the bell melody, he played a simple, quiet arpeggio, a rising and falling of 3 gentle notes. His human touch did not intrude. It complemented. The clear, alien purity of the bells was now supported by the familiar, earthy warmth of the piano. It was a conversation. The stars would sing a line, and the piano would offer a gentle, respectful reply. He continued this process for hours, his focus absolute. He found a section where the shimmering harp sound seemed to cut out abruptly. Here, he added a sound of his own creation. A soft, sweeping sound he called solar wind, created by digitally stretching the sound of a single, plucked cello string. It filled the space with a feeling of gentle, cosmic movement. The music grew and evolved under his careful hands. It was no longer just the nebula's song. It was their song. A collaboration between a lost civilization and a lonely man among the stars. The finished piece was a perfect fusion of the alien and the human, the ancient and the present. The core lullaby was still there, its strange, beautiful cadence carrying the weight of its history. But it was now wrapped in layers of human warmth and understanding. As he put the final touches on the composition, fading one sound into another, adjusting the timing of a single piano note, a profound sense of peace settled over him. The creative process had been a meditation unlike any other. In giving his own energy to the song, in trying to understand and honor its ancient emotion, he had soothed his own soul. He leaned back, his work complete. He let the final composition play from start to finish, filling the dome of the oracle with its sound. It was more beautiful than he could have imagined. It was a song that could quiet any storm, soothe any fear, and rock any soul, human or otherwise, gently to sleep. The lullaby, lost for millions of years, was whole again. And now, it had a name, Seraph's Cradle Song. As the final, shimmering notes of Seraph's Cradle Song faded into the quiet hum of the station, Elian sat in a state of still, contemplative silence. He had done it. He had restored the ancient lullaby. He saved the file to his personal archive, a new treasure among his collection of cosmic sounds. He could have stopped there. His work, as defined by his contract, was complete. He had identified, translated, and archived a unique cosmic signal. But it felt wrong. It felt incomplete. He looked out the viewport at the magnificent, swirling colors of the Seraph's wing nebula. He felt an immense sense of gratitude towards the unknown artists who had created this music. This song was not meant to be archived in a data file. It was not a museum piece to be studied. It was a lullaby. It was a gift. And a gift, he felt, was meant to be shared. It was meant to be heard. A new idea, bold and unconventional, began to form in his mind. He had spent his entire career listening, receiving signals from the universe. What if, for the first time, he sent something back? With a newfound sense of purpose, he turned back to his console. His fingers flew across the panels, this time not tuning receivers, but reconfiguring the entire array. He bypassed safety protocols and rerouted power, reversing the function of the great silver flower outside. He was turning his giant ear into a giant mouth. He was preparing to broadcast. He loaded the finished composition of Seraph's Cradle Song into the transmitter's buffer. He set the frequency not to a narrow, focused beam, but to a wide, gentle, omnidirectional wave. It was not a shout into the void, but a whisper. A message in a bottle, cast out into the cosmic ocean. He took a deep breath, his hand hovering over the final command. He thought of the lost civilization, of the parent and child. He hoped, in some small way, that this act would honor their memory. And he hoped that somewhere, someday, another lonely listener, another soul drifting through the quiet dark, might hear this song and feel the same sense of peace and wonder that he felt now. He pressed transmit. There was no great sound or flash of light. The only change was a soft, green indicator on his console that lit up. Reading, broadcasting. The lullaby, his lullaby, their lullaby, was now traveling outwards at the speed of light, carrying its message of peace back into the heart of the stars. His work was truly done now. A deep, fulfilling sense of peace settled upon him. He switched off the main console screens, leaving the cabin bathed only in the soft, ambient light from the viewport and his small orchid. He floated over to his armchair, a deep, welcome weariness in his limbs. He didn't get into his hammock. Instead, he just sat, letting the last echoes of the broadcasted music play softly through the cabin speakers. He listened to the song he had helped bring back to life. A duet across millennia. A cradle song from a ghost star. And as the soft, crystalline bells and the warm, gentle pads washed over him, Elian, the composer of stellar lullabies, closed his eyes. The music, a message of peace sent out into the universe, had come home, rocking its creator, and you, gently into a deep and profound sleep. Rest now. The stars are singing for you.